Have you read the Bible? Has anybody read the Bible?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sure, you read the Bible. Some of you. That story is in the Bible.
Really?
Yeah.
The Old Testament?
And in you.
Oh.
In what?
You will understand the story in a minute. The minute I tell you. Two brothers fighting against each other, one of them killing the other.
Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
It's the story of Cain and Abel.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's the story of Cain and Abel. Right? Passed over thousands of years from one person to the other.
But Abel was killed. He
They're
was
very-
dead. He never came back.
So the pharaohs, when they died, became mummified. They went to the underworld.
Tomb, your bar, the birds. Remember we saw it in the Nubian Museum, the human figure with the bird's body behind him, with the bird's wings behind him. He travels up, the bar travels up to the sky and becomes a star. Then there is the ka, which lives inside the mummified body. That is the most vital part, the ka. That's the part of you that travels into eternity. Right? To be recreated in eternal life or reborn in eternal life. Okay, the whole idea of the building of tombs, the mummification process, the placing of items inside the burial place is all for the ka to survive on these things and with the support and the help of the gods on these and the food presented in the tomb so that it can reach eternal life. The journey into eternal life is basically in 3 stages. The first part is the journey through the hours of day and night. The second part is the journey through the layers of heaven. And the third part is the entrance into the Imudwat. Imudwat is basically to be joined with the stars. Okay, to be one with the stars. And that's the entrance into eternal life. That's the door to eternity. The journey through the hours of day and night, the Egyptians, as we said, had split their days, or split the year into so many days, 365 days. Each one of these days was split into 24 hours. 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. Okay? In this religious text leading to the afterlife, each one of these hours is represented as a passage or a corridor with a guardian at the door at the beginning. You have to come up to the guardian of the first hour of day, say the appropriate magical spell, your password, and once you say that magical spell, the door opens for you and you step inside the corridor, inside the hours, the first hour. There is a boat waiting for you, a specific boat for each hour, so each one of the 24 hours has its own boat. It has its own set of sailors, which are gods of the underworld.
So they invented hours.
Yes, they had the hours.
Yeah, you showed us 12 the other day.
Okay. And so each boat for each hour with its own set of sailors that will help you to get to navigate the boat from the beginning to the end of the corridor, beginning of the end of the hour. But there are also enemies, evil spirits, devils and demons that will try to prevent you from reaching the end of the hour. And as a god traveling in eternity or traveling to eternity, you have to overcome all of these obstacles. You have to navigate the boat with the help of those sailors from the beginning to the end of each of the hours. Okay. So the first hour first, when you finish with the first hour, overcoming all these enemies and obstacles. The obstacles were including jumping over large holes of fire, climbing very steep hills, swimming in a river against very strong current, all sorts of different things that you have to do to reach the end of the hour. When you get to the end of the first hour, you get off the boat, wave goodbye to those gods, and face the door for the second hour. And say the magical spell for the second hour, which is different from the first hour. And then you step into that hour, there is another boat, another set of gods waiting for you to help you.
Well, you get tired in a hurry stepping in and out of these boats.
It's not easy getting to eternity.
No, it isn't.
Okay, but that's for the day. They have to do it 24 times for the day. Then they have to do it for 300.
12 times for the day,
12
times for the night.
And then 365 days for the year.
No. We're just talking about days and nights. The hours of the
so
day.
they only have to do it
24 times.
Then they get to eternity.
No. There's still a long way to eternity. It's a long road to eternity. They have these
You got a long
24
time.
hours. As I said, you have to go through the 12 hours of day. Right? I'm not going to go through every one of the hours, don't worry. Okay? Right? So you get on the boats and help and so on. When you finish the 12 hours a day, you do the same thing basically, but for the 12 hours of night. But each hour has its own guardian, has its own magical spell, has its own boat, has its own set of gods to help you, has its own enemies and obstacles that you have to take to overcome. Till you finish all the 24 hours. That's the stage 1 of the journey. Then you step into stage 2, the journey through the layers of heaven. Similar in concept to the hours, but with the exception that the layers of heaven are sloping up and down corridors, again with a guardian. There is a guardian waiting there, and you have to say the magical spell for that guardian. He opens the door for you. You go in and you travel up and down these corridors till you reach the end of each of the corridors and pass on to the next one. In the journey, or in the tombs in the Valley of the Kings, we only have records of 9 layers of heaven. There could be more, but we only have records of 9 layers. Okay? We don't know what the full number is. We estimate probably about 12 as well, but we only have actual records of 9. Okay? When you finish the second stage of the journey, these layers of heaven, you step into stage 3, going into eternal life. And there is a big, huge door, bigger than all the others, with a guardian standing there. And again, you have to say the magical spell, but that's not enough. You also have to present your visa, your permit into eternal life. And that is a record of the hours you've traveled through, the layers of heaven you've traveled through, the enemies and obstacles you faced on the way. You have to present him with a complete full report of what you did through the first 2 stages, and that you successfully overcome all your enemies, you successfully passed through all the hours and navigated the boat properly through all the hours, and so on. When you present all of these documents, or the proof that you've done this properly, then you're allowed to enter through the gate of the Imyutuat, or the gate of eternal life. The first hall you step inside is the hall of confession.
Sounds familiar.
You stand in front of a goddess who's called the goddess Ma'at. She's a female with a feather on her head. The feather that even nowadays we use as a symbol of justice, the balance and the feather. Okay. The goddess of justice, the goddess Ma'at. You stand in front of Ma'at and you do what we call the negative confession. It's a negative confession. It's a denial. You deny doing anything wrong in your life. Okay? And in the tombs,
I'm good at that.
You're very good at it.
Big on denial, right?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay?
Yeah, but you get to weigh it against the feather.
When you see it in the tombs, in some of the tombs, part of this negative confession is written, and it's lengthy columns of inscription, long columns of inscription, but they all start with the same figure at the very top of each of the column. The upper part of the human figure, the human body, the head and the shoulders, somebody going like this. What have I done? And that's the word nen in ancient Egyptian, which is the negative, the denial. Okay? Never have I done so and so.